Using a SIM card for internet has become more convenient and affordable than having a permanent internet connection for a lot of people these days. So today we have D Link's DWR 920V, which you can use for getting internet with a SIM card. We have seen similar devices that let you use a SIM card for internet before, but this router offers many additional features that you won't find in those devices, so let's check it out. Inside the box, you will find some manuals, a LAN cable, a power adapter, a cable to connect a telephone, the removable LTE antennas, and finally the router itself. The design of the DWR 920V is really cute. It is a small router with two removable antennas, and we have LEDs on front that tell you about different things, including the signal strength that you are getting from the SIM card. At the back of the router, you have a gigabit LAN port along with another gigabit port that can be used either as a LAN port or a WAN port, and we have another port for using a phone with this router. At the underside of the router, you will also find the slot for a mini SIM along with a WPS button. Now, because this slot is a mini SIM slot, which is the full-size SIM version, you may need a nano SIM to mini SIM adapter to use your SIM card, because most phones have nano SIM these days, and because these adapters are kind of difficult to find these days, I would have liked it if they also provided this adapter in the box. But because this router has a gigabit LAN and a WAN port, you can also use this as a regular router in addition to using SIM for the internet, which is a feature that isn't available on devices like Jio-Fi, and this also has a useful fallback feature which will allow you to switch to the SIM card's internet in case you use connectivity through the WAN port. Setting it up with a SIM card is really easy because all I needed to run 4G internet with my Jio SIM was just to push the SIM inside its slot, and it just connected automatically. And it supports 2G, 3G and 4G data with customizable access point names. Because we have a LAN port on this, you can also use this for accessing internet on wired clients like a PC, and we of course have its Wi-Fi connectivity, which you will most probably use. We also have a port for connecting a landline phone to this, and you can send and receive calls with a landline phone, which was quite fun to do after more than a decade for me. The interface of this router is quite basic, but it works well. You have options to configure different settings for the SIM and the connection through the WAN port, and you also have the usual options for connecting Wi-Fi, along with having some security and firewall features, some basic data monitoring, and the ability to upgrade the firmware. You can also send and receive SMSs from the interface, which is nice to see. Coming to its Wi-Fi connectivity, this is only a 2.4 GHz router, so it doesn't have the 5 GHz band, and 2.4 GHz connection is pretty basic, so even though this router has a gigabit WAN port, you won't be able to get very fast speeds from its Wi-Fi antennas. I tested the performance of the 2.4 GHz band, and I was able to get up to 80 Mbps with my phone almost touching the router. Then in the next room with one wall in between, I got around 70 Mbps. In my office with multiple walls in between, I got 50 Mbps. And finally, in my other flat with many walls in between, I got around 20 Mbps. The range of this router is decent enough, and it should cover a small flat, but it was barely able to provide range in my second flat, which is still not a bad result. The range on this will be significantly better than devices like Jio-Fi or your smartphone that you may use as a hotspot. Now, these speeds are not that great, but if you just want to use internet for casual browsing or streaming with a SIM card, you shouldn't feel that these speeds are low. These days I am getting really slow speeds on my Jio 4G network, so the performance for this router is more than adequate for that, but if you are on a network that can give you over 60 Mbps of speeds, then you will be towards the edge of the performance on this router. If you want to use this as a regular router, then you will be able to get gigabit speeds on wired clients like your desktop PC, but when using its Wi-Fi connection, you will be limited to lower speeds with your wireless clients. Overall, I am not disappointed with the performance of this router for its intended purpose, because it will be good enough in most cases, especially if you mainly want to use this with a SIM card, but you should know that this isn't a very high speed router if you want to use it with your fiber internet connection. If you use this with wired internet through its WAN port, then the one big missing feature on it is that it doesn't support MAC cloning. If your ISP only lets you connect to internet using a specific router that they provided, then you can use MAC cloning to make them think that you are still using the old router, and this is a feature that is present in most routers, but the absence of this feature is not a deal breaker, because you can just call your ISP and tell them that you have changed routers, and then they will reset the connection and let this new router work, but just keep in mind that you may need extra steps for setting this up. So overall, the D Link DWR 920V is a pretty feature-rich hybrid router that allows you to use a SIM card or a wired connection for internet in many ways. You can use wireless and wired devices, and you can even use it as a phone and even send SMSs. The drawbacks on this router are that the performance is just good enough for an average 4G connection, so if you need better performance for higher speeds with wired internet, you will have to look at higher end models which will be more expensive. At its selling price of around 4500 rupees, it is also competing with routers that have a more modern feature set, but as long as you are okay with some of its limitations, this is a product that works well, so if you are interested in checking this out, I'll have links in the video description. And that was it for this video. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.